Welcome back to the Underdog Wealth Academy. I'm really excited for our guest today. I have Garrett Blood with me. Garrett, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah. Garrett and my dad know each other pretty well, and my dad speaks really highly of Garrett, and so I've been excited to interview you and hear a little bit about your story. So
Appreciate that. Yeah, I slipped him, I probably slipped him $100 bill the other
yeah,
day. Worked out great, right?
well, he's yeah, no, my dad is usually a good reader of people, and so he's like I said, he speaks highly of you. So
Appreciate that.
Garrett has a really cool story, man. Definitely like a rags to riches type story. Had a pretty tough childhood and kind of overcame some tough things at a young age, and then fast forward to today, you've had a couple successful business ventures. But tell the audience kind of what you're up to today, and then we'll rewind back to the beginning.
So we own one of the fastest growing companies in the state of Utah. It was ranked number 5 fastest growing company according to Inc. 5000.
Way cool.
Here in Utah, number 8 in the country in our category. And we did it without private equity, without venture capital, and without debt.
Just bootstrapped it.
Bootstrapped it from the very beginning. No rich dads or anything like that. Yeah. Or, uncles or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out. And so we are number 204 of the Inc. 5000.
Very cool. And it's called KJ?
KJ. And KJ.
What does KJ do?
We're a premium staff augmentation firm. So we take brilliant people from 29 different countries. They stay 100% remote in their own country. And we pay them 5 to 10 times more than a living wage. And they're the ballers in the industry. They all have MBAs, PhDs, advanced degrees, Fortune 500, American corporate experience, and they sound like you and I in terms of their English level. And so just a ton of companies that everyone pretty much knows here in Utah. Mm-hmm. They have our mechanical, electrical, civil, nuclear engineers, our architects, our accountants, our supply chain analysts, our animators, our programmers, our developers.
Cool.
Just really rock star folks. And so, that's something that we do.
Way cool.
KJ, it stands for the names of my kids. People
no way.
Ask,
cool,
what
man.
Is that? It stands for Kate, Ariana, Jack, Alexa, Ethan, my 5 kids, 3 girls, 2 boys. And it was a 5-letter domain.
Yeah.
Still got it. It's a word. It was $12 on GoDaddy.
No way.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Worked out, and found out later that it means gift from God in Jamaica.
Oh, man. Come on. Well, one of my business partners served his mission in Jamaica. He raves about Jamaica all the time. So
Dude.
That's cool. Well, I think some people spend 10 years like trying to create the brand and make it look cool, make the URL sound amazing. And I love that you just like I love my kids. This will fire me up to get up every day in the morning and go build something that has their name tied to it. And then the product itself and the offering matters a lot more than like making. I don't know. Like I think obviously you're up to something if you're growing that fast, which is so cool. The other thing I love is just I'm a big believer in like win-win or no deal type business propositions, right?
Totally.
And if no one's losing all the way up the chain, then like it allows for scale.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in your exchange. You spoke to the value of the individual that's in country, that's foreign to here. Tell me about the value to the client or the business itself.
Yeah.
Like why go hire that person? Why are they coming to you to broker that deal instead of just hiring someone maybe local?
Totally. No, great question. For me, let's be honest, there's a lot of entitlement going on. Mm-hmm. Folks are saying, well, I just graduated from college and I deserve 6 figures right out of college.
I see
have
that.
No experience, but I want all of these great things. I want to have free lunch that's catered to me every day, and I want free massages on Fridays, or I'm going to jump ship. These companies hire these entitled folks, and then they end up losing them in 6 months.
Right.
And they take all the intellectual property or the clients with them out that door. And the value prop with us is our people are loyal and grateful rock stars.
So cool.
They want, I always say that talent and brilliance and skills are perfectly and fairly distributed around the world, but opportunity is not.
Oh, so good.
So what we do is we connect brilliant opportunity with brilliant people and connect those two together at record speed. We trademarked the phrase Zoom on Monday, talent by Friday. We can outmaneuver faster than any other company in the world at taking talent from 29 countries, narrowing it down to the best 3 in the world, and presenting them to a client on that same week that we meet them on a Monday. They meet 3 of the best people they've ever met on Friday. They meet them, they ask them questions, get familiar with them, they give us the thumbs up, And on Tuesday of that next week, they're
ready to roll.
in the trenches with their team. And so we're saving companies between $60,000 and $120,000 per year, minimum $60,000. We do all the heavy lifting. They work dedicated to one client, but they're part of our team specifically, and they work for that one client 40 hours a week, and we pay them 5 to 10 times more than a living wage.
Yeah.
So they go from poverty to middle class in 60 days or less.
Cool.
And this isn't a charity case. They are amazing folks that deserve a chance, and they're typically more educated and more experienced.
Yeah, you're probably hiring like the 95th and above percentile type people, maybe 99th percentile type people.
Top 3% in the world.
They're competing against someone here that might be like a 50th percentile person, and their attitude, like you're saying, is different because they're in a country or in a position where, I mean, I served my LDS mission in Bulgaria.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know if you've hired any Bulgarians for your business, but like, dude, they're, like if I'm a Bulgarian working just in Bulgaria, the most entrepreneurial thing or the biggest opportunity in my little small city that's local might be to like open a bread shop, it's just, we have so much opportunity here. And so I could imagine, that type of individual syncs up with you, and like their attitude is one of gratitude. I'm going to go bust it to add value because I'm not going to mess up this opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's cool.
I mean, it's so interesting because the stories that I get on a regular basis are just, they would blow your mind.
Yeah.
I've got members of my team. I have one member of my team, I share this a lot. Her name's Sarah. She's in her mid-20s. She served an LDS mission as well, and she has 2 master's degrees in graphic design and illustration from a really good school in Venezuela. And she also speaks 4 languages, and she worked for the United Nations as a director of creative design, I think it was. And they were taking advantage of her. They weren't paying her anything close to what she should be earning. They literally like exploited her. And, it's an organization that's do as we say, not as we do. And she quit, started working for us. And after 3 weeks, one day, she sends me an email. In that email was a picture, and it was a picture of a bed. She goes, I just bought my first bed. 4 languages, 2 master's degrees, experienced, amazing English. Just bought her first bed.
Whoa.
And Americans are complaining that their internet isn't fast enough. And here she is, right? And so it's those types of individuals that are on our team that have done hard things.
Right.
That want an opportunity. And and I say it's one of the rare things, a blessing of COVID was our infrastructure as we know it for telecommunications got a boost of adrenaline and steroids, basically.
Yeah, the globalization and like the borders kind of got a little bit less.
Zoom. Yeah. I wish I had money to put into Zoom early on.
Yeah,
because I would be, it's like investing in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
basically.
you'd be a gazillionaire.
Oh, because Zoom's. I don't know if you've ever seen the stock price on Zoom prior to COVID. It was like in the toilet.
Yeah,
and then after COVID, it was through the roof.
Yeah.
It was like
it became the primary means. Even nowadays, it's so normal that like someone might be down the street in their office too, but you just do Zoom because it
works great.
Easy.
It works great. Yeah. It's terrific.
That's so cool. That's awesome, man. Well, what a cool business. And I think that, again, it's like when you're just solving problems up and down the chain or whatever, it's a fun, business is fun. It can be really fun. And again, you can scale really fast in business when you're just solving a problem and it's just win-win all the way up the chain.
Totally.
So it seems like that's just what you have going on.
It's the triple win, right? It's like, I always say it's based off 3 of my favorite books of all time. If anyone's familiar with Clayton Christensen, he wrote How Will You Measure Your Life?
Yep.
The Prosperity Paradox was the other one that was just brilliant. And then there was a third book that I really liked that he didn't write. It's called Conscious Capitalism. And so our entire company is built on those 3 books, basically. 1, you got to love what you do. 2, it's got to have some amazing impact. And 3, you got to care about your people. And all those books basically tell the story of making sure that you adhere to those things so that for me, my mission, vision, and values will never change. This is, for me, legacy because I love it so much.
Right.
And the thing is if I were to take money from any enterprise or organization or investment firm, their whole goal is exit, right? They don't care about your mission. They care
Right.
about what the dollars look like
Yeah.
coming in so that they can quintuple that or
Yep.
make it 30 times X, 30
Yep.
exit. But if I took $1 from any of these companies, the mission, vision, and values would completely change overnight. They'd want me to pay my people less, and they want me to charge my clients more,
Yeah.
and so that they have a return. And
Right.
so my whole thought process was my team member wins first, my client wins second, and we win third. And if my team member loves what they do, they feel safe, they feel secure, they pull out the stops for their client. Their client appreciates that, loves that, and they're happy with KJ, and it's a circle.
So do you have any investors today, or you just totally own your own thing?
It's me and my business partner, the
Very
only ones
cool.
on the cap table.
Yeah. So your big thing is just like, I want to quarterback it and be able to be mission driven, and I don't want anyone else to tell me how to run my business, because usually they're looking through the lens of dollars and cents. And while that's part of the equation for you, it's not like I want to be able to operate kind of full vision, see it all, and not just because I know private equity usually once they get involved, I mean, from what I've seen, it can they trim things up. How many people can we cut from this, talent roster, and how much profit can we go extract? A lot of times.
You nailed it. How many businesses have we seen that were amazing?
Yeah.
That just dropped like just a weight in the ocean.
Yeah.
When private equity or VC got involved, it's just it's mind boggling.
They usually lack the lens of like what people are. Because anytime you're working for that group and PE is now involved and it's just so dollars and cents focused, the people feel, they feel like they might be cut at any time, and then they also feel less valued. A lot of times incentives are taken away or upsides taken away, and so it just
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I part of it too is I've seen what it's done to family and friends. I've got a lot of friends that run organizations that have taken money from some of these organizations. And they all have the same response to me. Garrett, never take money. Never take money. I'm like, I know. I've been there.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they said the stress on my shoulders, the stress on my marriage, the stress with my kids never seeing me, the difficulty that we're dealing with on a daily basis, the pressure cooker, the fact that I don't have hair or I have too much gray hair, all these types of things come from that 800-pound gorilla on their back.
Knowing that they're being watched and they're just no longer like the captain of the ship.
They've become an employee of the company.
Right.
And they have to answer to a board or a person or something like that. And I always joke that I want to put out a billboard that basically says, stop shooting yourself in the foot with your idea or your company, and we've beat most portfolios every year as an organization because we adhere. And I'm a big believer that you can do very well by doing good. And I feel like if more companies focused on that versus I want to be the first unicorn, I want to be a billionaire, it's like, why don't more of these organizations and companies in Utah, rather than bragging about being a unicorn, $1 billion company on paper, not in real life, but on paper, based on some valuation somewhere, I would love to see them compete with billboards saying, we created 55 new millionaires last year at our company. And then another one says,
it does feel like Utah has a little bit of this thing going on. While the economy is amazing in Utah, it does feel like there's this thing where the founders exit, take money, and then at some point kind of step away, and then like they like the company itself, like you said, it changes. The identity of the company changes because the founder left. There's this kind of repeat story that happens with a lot of the companies here that's interesting.
Totally.
And it's probably just because that founder or the OG people there weren't maybe operating through the lens of like, it was maybe dollars and cents focused a little bit. I don't know why is there not a lot of that going on?
I think it's just mindset. There's so many that are abundance. There's a good amount that are abundance mindset folks. And there's a lot that are very focused on the scarcity principle, right? Where it's like, well, I need to hoard all the chips because I just need to watch what's going to happen tomorrow, and I can't give out more chips to this person or that. Yeah. And you have these amazing exits for 1 or 2 or 10 people, and then the rest of the team that blood, sweat, and tears did get kind of the shaft. And so that type of mentality has always bothered me a little bit. I see that very prevalent in Utah, but at the same time, there's so many organizations and so many people that are focused on the success and the growth of their Utah brothers and sisters, basically. So I love that piece of it too.
Yeah.
Like anything, you've
Yeah.
got the good and the bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of good and bad here
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Let's rewind to the beginning. So my dad has told me a little bit about just your upbringing. I'd love for you to just let's go back there and just talk about your upbringing.
Yeah.
I've heard it's a crazy story. So
It's
maybe
pretty-
just speak to that, and then we'll kind of like, you know, we'll start there and then kind of work our way back to where we started.
Perfect. So, you know, it's interesting. I grew up in Orange County, and about 20 minutes away from Disneyland, I could see the fireworks every.
Cool. We're going to
every
Disneyland in 2 weeks.
Great, man.
Surprising our kids.
Good
so,
stuff.
Yeah,
It'll be a
they're
party.
too young to listen to this, so I'm cool. I'm good on the surprise.
You're good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, my dad is an entrepreneur. Has always been an incredible hard worker. And growing up, I didn't know we were wealthy. We weren't rich. We were wealthy.
Okay.
And we're talking generational wealth based on things that he had created. And he had grown this empire by the time I was, you know, years before I was born. And then when I was about 9, I started kind of seeing some of what it was. But he owned condos, hotels in other countries.
Wow.
Gold mines he owned.
He was just
multiple
he was
houses.
balling.
He had multiple businesses. He invented a lot of different things, had patents, had a laboratory that could melt down ore into gold. I mean, just you name it.
He had his
kinda
hand in just tons of stuff.
everything. He had
What do you think?
exotic car dealerships. He was always driving home in a different car, Ferraris, Lambos. I found out really quick the difference between rolling in on a Rolls Royce and how it smelt on the inside and how quiet it was compared to the raw 800 horsepower power of a Pantera compared to a Countach or the high frequency whine of a Ferrari. And we would go to school in limos, for example. And he had jets and planes and helicopters, and it was like this crazy.
What do you think his net worth was at the peak? You know, just for fun to throw around.
I don't even know, but
Yeah.
it was probably a good 9 figures.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know.
Super wealthy.
Super wealthy, but like anything can be taken away.
Yeah.
And when I was right around 9 or 10, I don't know if it was because he had a few different vices that we weren't aware of.
Sure.
Gambling was one of those.
Okay.
He'd go to Vegas, and it was one of those things where, Dad, what do you mean everything's free? What do you mean the room's free? What do you mean that why are we in this exclusive place at the casino that no one's allowed? Because you spend a ton of money, right?
Wow.
And gambling, $5,000 a hand, that
Sure.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then all the other things that he was involved with. And so little by little, he started to lose different things. And I think a lot of it had to do with mental health. I think there was some mental health components we know now. And so that's another part of the story. But little by little, his empire started to just get hit. It was one hole after another in the dike, basically, and pulling that out and the water starting to fall through it. And but what was nice is I was always familiar with what my dad was doing. So I wanted to be entrepreneurial myself. And so I started a window cleaning business when I was 9.
Wow.
And I had an uncle who was a window cleaner, taught me the trade. And I went out there and started knocking doors of businesses. Cool. And I built it up to 60 customers by the time I was 12.
No way. Like reoccurring customers?
Reoccurring customers. I was saving for my LDS mission.
Come on,
so
man, that's amazing.
At
11 years old.
Yeah, it's funny. I've got pictures of me standing on a bucket because I was barely 5 feet tall.
That's sweet. Well, that's my world, door knocking.
Right.
So that's what we do. I love that.
And so it was one of those things where I built it up, and I say 12 because my parents divorced when I was 12.
Okay.
He had lost his entire empire.
Your dad.
His whole net worth, everything gone.
So nine figures to zero.
To basically zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it became this crazy, I remember us losing our house and being forced out by the sheriff with all our possessions on the front grass of our house, waiting for a U-Haul truck to pick us up and everything. And if it wasn't for grandparents, we would have been homeless.
Wow.
And so I lived with one set of grandparents, and the rest of my family lived with the other set of grandparents because my parents were fighting at this point.
Yeah.
And one school was closer to one set of grandparents as the other one. And so we kind of lived apart off and on during that time. And I was forced to sell my business when I was 12 to a guy in his 30s. And so I always joke that my first exit was when I was 12.
Oh man.
Yeah. And sold that window.
Pay you a multiple or what?
Yeah, I got a good exit out of it. You know, I paid for my mission, and
Yeah, that's
and so it was one of those things where it was
That's sad though.
yeah,
It's sad.
it is what it is. And but I just look at, I think that's part of the reason why KJ resonates with me, because I know what it's like to be here, and I know what it's like to be here. And most in other countries are down in this level, but they're happy as can be.
Yeah.
And so just that huge disparity right there. And so my mom eventually remarried. My dad never remarried. He never recovered, basically.
Are they still alive, your parents?
He's still alive. My dad got involved with drugs,
Okay.
and it's been about 2 years. We haven't seen him because he's homeless in Orange County somewhere.
Oh,
And so it's just interesting how things either make you or they break you.
sure. Yeah.
And he had some great success after the fall, I would say, of his empire, and then he got hit again, and he didn't get up the second time. And so it's just been one of those things where, like right now, we can't find him. We have no idea where he is.
Yeah.
We've looked for him and tried to find him, and every once in a while there's a sighting. It's kind of weird to say that,
Yeah.
but we're trying to find him, and we think he's in Huntington Beach somewhere.
Yeah.
And
What
pull
a
into
story,
him.
man. Well, he's in my prayers, and they should make a movie about this.
Oh,
It's insane.
it would be hilarious. I mean, he was the top 1/10% in the company Melaleuca, if you're familiar.
Yeah. Oh
He's
yeah.
very good friends.
Aren't
with
they like
Frank-
essential oils?
essential oils, Melaleuca oil, and all sorts of different
Okay,
things.
yeah.
But he was one of their top producers in the
Okay.
entire company. He was
Okay.
very personal friends with Frank Vandersloot, the wealthiest person in Idaho, multi-billionaire.
Okay.
And he helped craft a lot of the success of that company today. And it was kind of basically stolen from him at a certain point, and I
Yeah.
can't get into that. But in fact, it got so dirty once, I wrote a letter to Frank Vandersloot
You did?
in Melaleuca, and he wrote me back on my mission
No
about
way.
it. Yeah, it was
Because
pretty
you were
interesting.
revenge kind of.
I was pretty
vengeance
pissed.
in
I'm
your
just
heart.
kind of like, dude,
Yeah.
this guy helped single-handedly build your company, and
Yeah.
I think what's going on here is wrong.
Sure.
That kind of thing. And
Yeah. What did he say back? If you
he
don't mind
basically
asking.
said, focus on your mission. This is between your dad and I. Type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it was very tactful,
Sure.
very, very
Professional.
very professional. But at the same time, it was like, come on, man.
Not like solution focused, but it was kind of just like,
Yeah.
go away, kid.
But he ran a successful company, and
Yeah,
it's still
makes
a great
sense,
company.
yeah.
So I totally get where he's coming from too.
Well, it's your dad's story. Hopefully you're okay with me saying this, but this quote that I think about often, I share it with my sales reps and stuff, is just this idea that if you sleep on a win, you'll wake up with a loss. And I don't know, like past success, even if you built an empire, it's like you have to stay grounded, and the stuff in the dark at some point comes out into the light, and it's just I don't know, there's nothing more true than that, right?
So true. Shouted from the rooftops.
Yeah,
That type of thing.
Stay humble, but maybe a silver lining is you probably learned a lot from your dad in terms of he could, bringing in the bread and being an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah.
You've probably a lot of those types of things you could attribute to learning from your dad, which in a neat way, I don't know, it probably bonds you to him, even though you probably don't have much of a relationship right now, or
Yeah, not
or I
right
guess
now.
I guess I'm putting words in your mouth.
No, you're
Tell
fine.
Tell me about that. Like,
yeah. So
how do you think about that?
What's interesting is because I look back on it, and for me, Ocean's 11 was one of my favorite movies,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because Andy Garcia reminded me of my dad. Very slick, very charismatic. Don't cross him. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But the difference is my dad was 6'2.5", almost 6'3".
Mm-hmm.
Looked just like Tom Selleck. Could bench press 425
Oh, man.
pounds with
Yeah.
body weight of 195, and he
Yeah.
drove the same Ferrari.
Yeah.
And so it was like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's my dad. He's a baller.
Yeah.
And so watching that movie, but yeah, for years, I mean, we still had a great relationship.
Sure.
Still to this day, there's no one I can laugh with more than my dad.
Yeah.
And a great sense of humor. And the unfortunate thing is he's pretty much toasted his brain at this
Yeah,
point,
tough.
which is just super sad.
Yeah.
We'll see him again one day when he's got
Yeah,
his
you
full
will.
faculties.
100%.
But yeah, it's one of those things where little by little, looking back, you see the things that you don't want to mimic,
Mhm.
right? It's like, okay, failure there, I'm not going to touch that. That's an issue there in terms of father-son or father-daughter relationship. That didn't work. Let's pivot from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a second chance with grandkids. And it's like, don't screw that up.
Mm.
And I look at that and I'm like, you're screwing it up.
Yeah.
And so I look at that as these are learning lessons
Right.
for us to break the pattern.
Sure.
And, there's a really great quote that I love that was, pain travels through families until someone is ready to feel it. And so it's like, how do you break that cycle, if you will? And so I look at it like, okay, great. We're going to break that cycle.
Cool.
And so, but everything happens for a reason.
Right. Very, very cool. So at that stage, you're 12, 13, maybe walk through just like teenage years, high school, and then it sounds like you served an LDS mission. Let's go there next, and then we'll go into kind of like everything from there till the KJ.
So, it's interesting. Those formative years in high school, super poor, basically welfare poor. And so it's like
living with grandparents. Or what?
My mom remarried. We moved in, and stepdad was pretty much same. I mean, it was just nothing really changed.
Not a very good guy, or
good guy, just didn't have a work ethic.
Okay.
And so I actually got really pissed off with sports because he was always watching sports on the couch.
Interesting.
And I just like, this is...
So your relationship with like sports and just kind of be a couch potato.
I will not watch sports on TV unless it's like BYU football or something like that. That's
interesting.
Like it. And it's just, I saw it as non-productive. I don't want to memorize stats. They're changing all the time. It doesn't matter. I could be the greatest sports fan in the world and I will never make a mark.
Yeah, the positive impact on your family, on your own life. Yeah.
And so, and I got a little bit resentful because I was going out and I built up a new business in a new city, in a new place. I was in Temecula, if anyone's familiar with what Temecula is. That's where we moved to from Orange County.
Yeah.
And I had to build up new customers and things like that. And what ended up happening is I was paying a good majority of the bills every day.
Wow.
So I go home from
for
school.
Your mom and your stepdad.
Yeah,
you were like,
and I'm making car insurance premiums. They're coming to me. It felt like Dumb and Dumber with a
insane.
I had a
basically as a 15-year-old.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way up until I left for my mission. But it felt like I had a briefcase with IOUs in it, just like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Big time amounts, and that I had just kept track of. In a ledger, basically, if you guys owe me this much money for premiums for cars, for house payments and rent, for the electric bill, you name it. And
dude, the street smarts and like the sophistication for a 14-year-old to be doing that kind of stuff is insane.
Dude,
when I was 14, I was like, still working on my spelling. Who knows what I was thinking about, but not footing the bill for my mortgage for my family and stuff.
It was rough.
Insane. It was just like, like talk about just like welcome to the real world, dude. Pull your weight. What business were you? How were you pulling money together back then?
So I had a window cleaning business.
Okay, so you went back into window cleaning.
Then my dad was with Melaleuca, and I became the youngest director at Melaleuca.
Okay.
I had to use a checking account with my mom because I wasn't 18, so I was pulling in like a little more than $1,000 to $2,000 a month. From my downline. In that organization.
Okay.
So it was, it was like picking up an extra $10,000 to $15,000 a year, basically from that, plus window cleaning, and then I also built and sold computers. And so I loved building computers. I had my first, I got my first computer, which was like a $2,000 computer from a physicist who was a family friend, by painting the inside of his house. And he gave me this computer.
No way.
And that kind of started the love of building and selling those things. But all those things, my ultimate goal was to save for my mission. And when I was 19, I was super pumped to leave. This was going to be, it sounds bad to say, but this was going to be like a vacation.
Yeah.
I didn't have
up with that.
I didn't have to deal with this garbage anymore.
Yeah. Most kids are afraid because they feel like I'm in this warm and fuzzy, safe environment. Now I'm going out into like the real world. And you were probably like, dude, I've been playing dad in my house.
Serious.
Since 14 years old. I just get to go freaking take care of myself, which is...
It's exactly it, right?
That's insane.
And so I got called to Tampico, Mexico, which is in the Gulf, near Veracruz. And I didn't like it for a while. Like, I think I told all my kids, my oldest, when he left for his mission, you're going to hate it for the first 6 months.
Missions are hard.
Plan on it.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah, right? Because I'm like,
they are hard.
It is so foreign to you in terms of what you're doing day to day.
What was hard for you about it that first 6 months? Like, why did you hate it?
Spanish.
Oh yeah.
learning a language. Like I got straight A's in high school, like AP Physics, AP Biology, Human Anatomy, Physiology. I was going to be pre-med. I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. I'd be Dr. Blood. You know, I thought that'd
Yeah,
be
that's
fun,
actually
right?
sweet. Yeah.
But Spanish, not trigonometry, not calculus, Spanish screwed me over.
Yeah.
I had to take AP classes because I knew I was taking Spanish, and I got C pluses in Spanish.
Yeah.
And that was
So even
me.
in high school, you just struggled with it. It was didn't
Just
come easy for
Spanish.
you.
Yeah, everything else, no problem. But that was rough.
Interesting.
And so then I got called to Mexico, and I'm like, son of a, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle. It was tough. All my companions were all from Mexico. And so it was, okay, we're throwing you into the deep end. Swim or
Do you think there was part of it for you? Because it felt like, from what I'm hearing, like you just had a lot of control. Well, you had the family was kind of out of control, but it felt like you were just like, dude, I'm going to take ownership of this thing, and like I have God given, you know, skills. I'm going to go start making money and use my charisma. And was it just because? So now you get there and you're like, I can't even communicate, so I've lost my ability to like.
You nailed it.
Own my. I don't know. Like I'm just picturing like this kid that's like paying the bills for his family. That's like a total stud. And then you go there and now you're like the junior comp that can't even speak.
Dude, I love it because you're the only person who's ever brought this component up before in terms of contrast.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. It was one of the most difficult things ever because I couldn't communicate like I wanted to communicate. I had taken mission prep. I knew all the discussions, but I couldn't speak Spanish. I couldn't understand Spanish. I'd fall asleep trying to focus on the words that they were saying.
Yep.
I would read scriptures in Spanish with a pen in my mouth to get my tongue to train and be drooling while I'm trying to read scriptures to get my tongue to do things that I couldn't do in English. And it was so frustrating because I didn't know, where are we going today? What do you mean I get money in my account every 2 weeks? Where is my money? How do I buy food? How does this work? You don't know anything that's going on. And I feel like a lot of missions are that way, where they don't give you a little bit of, this is what you should be expecting here, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so figuring it out and the struggle and difficulty of not being able to know what's going on a daily basis for so many months.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and I always say, it's like drips in a bucket. One drip at a time to fill up that bucket, but eventually it pours over the top. And so I feel like after about 6 months, I'm starting to get in the hang of it.
Starting to get there.
And you know how it is. After about 12 months, you're like, I'm kind of getting this.
Yeah.
And then it's not till almost the very end of your mission when you are just flying, you're in flow state.
You're in flow state.
You're
That's right.
killing it, and you don't want to go.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
And then it's pulled away from you. And it's
Dude, there's so many things you just shared that I just totally resonate with. Like I kind of different than you. I had a hard time with everything in school in terms of like I got a 16 on the ACT test twice, took it twice, and I got decent grades, but like could not test well. My mission language, I tell people this all the time. My mission language, it was so hard for me to learn, but then once I learned it, it was such a blessing for my life because if I came home with confidence that I had never had because I finally had proven to myself, like, dude, if I just put my head down and lock in, I can like figure something out, you know? And even though it was one thing that I really dialed in on, like it just gave me so much confidence. But you're right, it took till like the last 6 months to go figure that out. And then at the end of my mission, I remember my last night door knocking, like just weirdly breaking down, crying, walking home because it was just like
last time.
Finally figured something out in my life. Like I feel like I'm freaking good at something.
Right.
And then now it's time to go home. What the heck?
It's just crazy where it's just like, you're like, oh, that was fast.
Yeah.
You know, and you just got there. I just arrived, you know, type of
Yeah.
thing where you're like, okay, and now put me to work. This is awesome. Right.
Yeah.
And, just good times. Got home from my mission, and I had saved enough money in my account to buy a car, pay for college. And I got home and found out that my money had been taken by my mom and my stepdad, and I had nothing. I had nothing. I came home and they gave me like $40, and I'm like, I'm starting from zero again.
Dude.
You spent all my money. They were living in this ridiculous house that they couldn't afford. and he wasn't making any money, but he I don't know. I don't even know how it happened, but it was this ridiculous house that was just unbelievable in the wineries of Temecula.
I've
And
never heard of a childhood, dude, where it's like so high and so low.
oh,
You know
it's
what I'm
great.
saying?
They didn't
Like
even have
most
any.
people grew up it's like we grew up poor and we never had anything. So like I formed these ideas around my
Yeah.
childhood and then I did XYZ. Or it's like I grew up with a lot of wealth, learned a lot of lessons, but like the ups and downs are just.
Dude, it was so frustrating because I get home and I'm like, okay, I got to buy a car. I need to get a job. I need to get in school. And so I found a job and I got my mom drove me to work. I saved up enough money. Then I bought my stepdad's car because it was about to get repoed. And I used a credit card to get me a cash advance to pay for it. I paid it off in 3 months. And then I was taking a real estate class on the weekends. I was in institute at night and dating. And then, just a bunch of those types of things.
Crazy.
And so little by little, and then got a job that gave me a car. So then I sold my car and used that money for a down payment on a house. So it was my goal to buy a house within 12 months. I was able to do it.
No way.
Proposed to my wife in the backyard of the house the day it closed escrow. That was my goal.
Cool. Wake.
And yeah, and it was super fun to be able to do that. And then the goal after that was to buy a rental property like every year after that.
Okay.
And so
Did you do that?
Yeah. And so then we were doing that, and then fortunately, and I got lucky, if everyone's familiar with the recession in 2006 with real estate, everything tanked. Well, I sold everything like 2 months before it all tanked.
Wow.
And that was luck. It wasn't because I was reading the market.
It wasn't because you saw something coming down the horizon. It was.
I just thought, you know what? If I sell right now, I'm going to be sitting pretty. This is great. So then I sold everything, and most of it was in San Diego.
Did you sell the real estate with something in mind that you wanted to go do with those funds, or was it just?
There was always something. I got involved once with a company that I didn't know was a Ponzi scheme, and lost $200,000 in that when I was 24.
Okay.
That was a lot of money at the age of 24 to lose.
Yeah.
And that stung a lot from folks that you thought were sophisticated, and then you just got taken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I had always had an idea. Like when I'd be at the gym. This brings us to my first
business.
And
before you go there, did
Yeah.
you sell the real estate before starting the business?
Yeah, I sold all the real estate.
How many rentals did you have?
Oh, it wasn't much. It was
Couple
I had
rentals.
like 4 houses in San Diego.
Cool.
And then a house up near us.
Okay.
And then the primary residence that we lived in,
Yeah.
and some condos back east.
Okay.
And sold everything. And I'd always crave ice cream after the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to always think, well, if I have some ice cream right now after this amazing workout, I'm going to negate everything I just did.
Yeah. I just worked so hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know what? I'm drinking a protein shake. Why can't they make a protein shake in an ice cream form?
Yeah.
Nothing existed on the market. Everything that was somewhat healthy was like riddled with sugar alcohols, or it was made with soy.
Right.
I'm not going to, I'm going to stay clear of this stuff.
Right.
And so one day we bought a soft serve machine. I say we, because a buddy of mine at the work that we worked at, said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do something. And we bought a soft serve machine. And we started experimenting with all sorts of different formulas that we were coming up with. We're dumping whey protein in there and messing with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And we discovered that there's 1,000 ways not to make ice cream. And it was nasty. But around the 1,001th time, literally, it felt like we nailed it. So we made something that was fat-free, gluten-free, lactose-free, diabetic-friendly. It was 150 calories for the entire pint.
Wow.
It was all natural. There's nothing artificial in it, no artificial sweeteners. It was 20 grams of whey protein concentrate, 8 grams of fiber, and it tasted good.
Wow.
And we took it from our garage, and we put it into one grocery store, then 10 grocery stores, then 100, then 1,000. Then we got into 10,000 grocery stores.
Wow.
18,000 grocery stores later. Wow. It was a number 57 of 552,000 food items on Amazon. We were the first to pioneer overnight shipping, packed in dry ice, insulated container to anywhere in America.
Jeez, man.
And we were the first to put a calorie count on the front of a package. So anytime you go in a grocery store now and you see a calorie count or a protein count, it came from us.
No way.
And so our ice cream, Frozen dessert. You can't call it ice cream because it didn't have
Yeah.
a fat content in it. But it was Haagen-Dazs is the number one ice cream pint in America. Ben and Jerry's was number 2, and we were number 3.
Wow.
And that product was called Arctic Zero.
Okay.
And so we had it in stores nationwide.
Were these all in the U.S., like grocery stores
Yep,
in the U.S.?
they're all in the
So
U.S. It
domestic.
was also found in Canada as well.
Okay, cool.
And
How old were you when this went down?
let's see, we started this, I was probably about 27.
Okay.
And then we started in soft serve frozen yogurt shops. And then right around 2008, when I was about 29, is when we started getting into, we focused on prepackaged pints, getting it into grocery stores. And that was super fun to get there.
Yeah,
And
cool.
we had to create a category because nothing existed as a product that pretty much anybody could eat. So
Wow. So cool. And then how long did you run that business? Like how long of a venture was that?
we ran that. I exited towards the end of 2012.
Okay. And was that a
And-
full exit?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I exited. My business partner stayed on, and that was the only thing keeping me in California. So I always say I'm a recovering Californian.
Yeah.
Taxes, traffic, politics.
Yeah.
Or like you moved from San Diego and moved to Utah.
Well, you and my
What
dad,
were you thinking?
You and my dad have that in common.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so I always say, well, what you just said tells me that you only visit or vacation in California.
Yeah.
You don't want to live in that
Yeah.
state. It used to be amazing. There was no greater state
Yeah.
in the United States than the 80s and 90s in California.
Yeah.
Rock star.
Yeah.
Pete Wilson, the governor, rock star. Left the state with $22 billion in the account, surplus.
Yeah.
And then you've got what's his name right now, Gavin Newsom, that has
Yeah.
just literally ruined that state.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how bad he is at
Yeah.
everything he does.
Yeah.
But
Did you move to Utah after that?
yeah, so right as we sold Arctic Zero, basically about 8 months later, we had the epiphany that we didn't want to be in California anymore.
Yeah.
And we had family and friends here, and we said, let's move to Utah.
Cool.
We never thought that in a million years that we'd want to do that. And then we decided to uproot and move to Utah.
Way cool. Now you
Kids
have-
were young enough
you
that
have
it makes sense.
5 kids now?
5 kids. My oldest is 20. He'll be 22 next week. And our youngest is 10. And 3 girls, 2 boys.
Cool.
And but yeah.
What fires you up about your family right now? Like what's kind of the good stuff with the family?
The adulting component right
Yeah.
now. So we've got a 22-year-old returned missionary, served his mission in Tucson, Arizona, learned Spanish.
Yep.
He was right there on the border, and I would say, hey, you basically went to Mexico,
Yeah.
but you could drink the water.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, she's 19 and she just put in her papers. So
No
we're
way.
waiting to see where
Yeah,
she's gonna
that's
go.
great.
She's super pumped.
Way cool.
And she's a little bit bugged that the church came out
Yeah,
and
they
said
just said
18.
18 now,
and she's
yeah.
like, I would have gone a year ago.
She's like,
It's
this
frustrating.
Yeah, for real.
But he saved and paid for his own mission. She saved and is paying for her own mission because I said
cool.
they'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
so each one of them has different God-given talents and strengths. That's super cool to see
Way
because they're
cool.
all unique.
How are you? Obviously, you've created a lot of wealth and had a lot of success yourself. How are you kind of creating children that are hungry, ambitious, you know, that are excited about building their own lives and kind of their own foundation? Like, how do you go do that?
We've never paid allowance to any of our kids. And so the goal was for them to get out and figure out a way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that was babysitting or cutting hair, my son Jack puts up BYU flags for every home game in the neighborhood.
Yeah, cool.
And he gets people on a route, basically, and he does that every season. He now sells starving student cards.
Way
He's
cool.
14,
Yeah,
and he's stoked because he makes $40 an hour
Yeah.
going door to door doing that.
way cool.
And it's, as you know, more than anybody, going door to door,
It's
you
tough.
learn a lot
Yeah.
doing that.
Oh, yeah.
right? And you got to open your mouth and figure out how to do things.
Yeah, it'll expand your soul, man.
Oh,
It's the hardest job out
Oh,
there.
it's so great for people.
Yeah.
And my son, same thing. My daughter, same thing.
That's awesome.
All our kids have gone out and figured out how to do things like that. I always say they've got to learn how to do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
And so with KJ, for example, we take them to a summit around the world every year. We take our entire team,
Cool.
in addition to paying them 5 to 10 times more than
Yep.
living wage. We give them paid maternity, paid paternity, PTO, full medical, full dental. We have a clinical psychologist on staff for mental health. We have a professional English linguist that they can talk to anytime
So
to
cool.
remove an accent if they want.
Yeah.
Continuing education initiatives with Thunderbird and ASU that are all free for the team. and then we send them on a summit around the world. And so we took the entire Latin American team to Cancun 2 months ago.
Cool.
We have trainers and people for activities, and they just have to get themselves to the airport.
Yep.
Everything else is covered, right?
Yeah.
Their flights, resorts, activities, everything. And we do a lot of training. And the year before that, we went to Machu Picchu.
Cool.
And Cusco. We went to Punta Cana the year before that. Teams in Philippines, we went and took them swimming with whale sharks, underwater caving, all sorts of different things that are experiential.
Way cool.
So what's nice is our clients here in U.S., specifically also here in Utah, don't have a revolving door. Like our retention rate's higher than any other company.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to quit
Yeah.
and go somewhere else because no one will take care of them like we do. Like I know every single member of my team, hundreds of employees around the world. I know what the name of their spouse is, names of their
cool.
kids.
Yeah.
I know their favorite movies and TV shows. I know where they would love to go if money wasn't an issue preventing them to go somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Where that would be.
Well, you're solving a huge problem, man, because like employee retention is a massive cost. And not just financial costs, but just like the emotional tax of like worrying if your people are going to be on the bus in a year or two.
Totally.
It's a big deal. So the problem you're solving there is huge. And I love that, like, I just love this concept that, like there's pillars in life, but anytime you can kind of swing the hammer one time and hit a bigger nail, like you're doing a lot of good and you're kind of impacting a lot of people through work. And I just think that that's so neat and makes life really abundant and cool. And I love that you're using it as a vehicle to mentor your kids and teach them. And there's not a cooler way to do that. They'll learn more doing that and seeing your business and how you interact with your employees and stuff than they will in school. It's just like
you nailed it, because that's the whole thing is by bringing them to these different places in the world, they see how the majority of the world lives.
Yeah.
And how abundant and appreciative and grateful they need to be.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of, Thanksgiving week here,
Yeah.
giving Thanksgiving daily
Right.
for what they have. The
Yeah.
fact that water, when they turn it on, can be hot
Yeah.
is a real thing. The fact that they could drink out of the bathtub water and not get sick
Yeah.
is significant.
Yeah.
The fact that they have a refrigerator that keeps things cold, all of these things that we take for granted, majority of the world doesn't have.
Yeah.
And a select few have an internet connection and have electricity and are brilliant enough. You've got Elon Musk level people
Yeah.
around the world.
Right.
They just don't have the opportunity yet.
Yeah.
And that's who we find.
Way cool. I love that. I have two more questions. The first is, most of the audience listening to this, again, like I told you before, like 18 to 30 years old, young, ambitious, most of them in college or starting college soon. Just, I don't know, like if you could speak to that group in terms of their career and maybe what they should be focusing on, would love just like a couple thoughts on that. Like if you were 18, 20 years old today and you were planning on going and building something that you could be proud of and create a lot of wealth, and what would you be focusing on?
Patience. I think far too many youth right now feel like they can shortcut everything because they might think they're smarter or they're going to work harder. But at the end of the day, patience, because you're going to fail and it's okay to fail, right? It's okay that it's going to take a little bit longer than you expected, right? God's playing 4D chess and we're playing checkers, right? It's like there's a reason why life sometimes has to suck before it gets better, right?
Love that.
And so they just have to understand that they can't, that 50-year-old or 60-year-old that has the gray hair got the gray hair because he or she did the hard things early on.
Yeah.
And they didn't shortcut it. And I'm guilty of this too. I thought, well, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to outwork everybody around me and I'm going to shortcut my way. Sorry, but the experience isn't there yet, right? And so I see a lot of people in their 20s, late 20s sometimes, that they think they deserve a particular title or a position at a company, and they haven't earned it.
They haven't become that type of person yet to demand that type of opportunity.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And
so just keep focusing on becoming and doing the things that sharpen the saw, so that soon, you can.
The time will come.
Yeah.
Like I've seen pretty much anyone I've ever seen that has put in the work diligently over time, has dealt with putting in the grit component, has arrived into their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's miraculous, and it's just the nature of the game. They've put in the time, they've put in the energy, they've failed enough times to understand that there's success there as well. It's that, it's so interesting. I see a lot of people sometimes that go, well, how did you know you had made it?
Mm-hmm.
Or how did you know that just around the corner you were going to succeed? And I said, it's always the moment. It's almost like that 11th hour where you're about to quit something, that it's literally going to be at 11:59 that you hit it.
Yeah.
And you're going to you're going to be glad you kept going.
Right.
And I've seen that time and time again where like, okay, I can't make payroll. And I got to figure this out. I've got to make it happen. I can't keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually something just clicks, and you're there. And you look back later and you're like, I almost threw in the towel right there.
Yeah, it's last man standing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, entrepreneurship and winning in business a lot of times is like, it's not who gets to the mountain peak first. It's the person that's still on the mountain.
And you know what? Entrepreneurship isn't for everybody either.
Yeah, no doubt.
Some people, it's like,
No doubt.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Elon Musk said it best about entrepreneurship. He says, entrepreneurship, where you work 80 hours to avoid 40.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they might not resonate with that. Like sometimes people will come to me and they'll be like, well, I'm thinking about being an entrepreneur, because they see all the glory of the free time and everything like that. I go, but you might see the success, but you didn't see the fact that for me, for example, I didn't pay myself for 2 years once. I said, not paying yourself. I say, prepare yourself for not paying yourself for at least 24 months.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa. I go, that's not the hard part. The hard part is convincing your spouse to do the same thing.
Yeah.
That is the difficult part.
Yeah.
And so I feel like people have to prepare themselves to understand that they're going to work far more than they've ever worked before for very little gain for a while.
Yeah.
And then if they're lucky, they're going to see the success. But that's the difference between who has grit and who doesn't. Can you do the hard things? Or can't you? Can you sacrifice? Because a lot of times it's like, well, I want to go on that trip. I saw someone on Instagram having a great time on that yacht, and they spend all their money on that. Or it's just interesting where everyone spends their money different ways. I'm not here to judge. But at the end of the day, how do you want to live in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and so forth? A lot of people want to retire early. For me, I feel like the moment you retire, you're pretty much going to die.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
you
why
lose
did
your purpose?
You stop doing stuff.
Yeah. It feels like if there's like cornerstones to happiness for a human, like purpose is one of them. And a lot of times you derive a lot of purpose out of your job. So like, are you sure you want to go like not do anything?
Totally.
It just kind of feels silly,
People always ask me, they're like, are you going to sell KJ? I go, it's the thing that I love more than anything. I get to do welcome calls with members of my team.
Well,
I
it's
get to
cool
see
that
tears in their eyes telling me how their life has changed. I had a member of my team. He's in Mexico. He has 2 advanced degrees, one in physics, applied physics, and the other one is in computer engineering. And he's brilliant. He worked for Sony, and he worked for, I think it was Google, I think it was Google. And he had just gone through a divorce, and he has 2 boys going through crazy legal problems because of this divorce, lost his job, can't make ends meet. And it's a Tuesday. We interview him, we hire him basically on the spot after everything. And he comes to me at a summit recently, because he's been with us for over a year in Cancun. And he comes to me, he's like, thank you so much. Really appreciate what you did for me and my family, for my boys, everything. And he goes, you saved my life. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I was going to take my life on Thursday.
Oh, man.
I mean, I didn't get that from ice cream.
No.
And those are the types of stories I
That's
get
cool.
regularly.
Really cool.
So it's like, why would I?
You're mission driven, man. You can just tell with the way that you even talk about it. I love this concept of like build the type of life and chase the type of thing that you don't need like an escape from.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, the reason why they talk about retirement in some like romanticized ways, they just freaking hate their gig.
Yeah.
Like they hate what they're doing.
Totally.
So it's like, maybe just consider like finding something, that like gives you, and it's going to be work. Doesn't mean it's going to be like, you're not going to be playing golf for a living, or we all would be or whatever, but like be purpose driven, let it fill your cup. You want to find something that excites you. But I think it's a rad concept that like, to not build a life that you feel like you just need a break from all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I go to work kind of pumped, and it's still work, and there's unsexy days for sure, but like those types of stories make it all worth it.
Totally.
Super
And a lot of people that know me know I'm not a morning person. Like
Yeah.
I do not beat the sun up,
Yeah.
right? Type of thing. I
Yeah.
have recently, I've been going to the gym at like 5 a.m, and that's
Yeah.
rough,
Yeah.
but it gets me going, right?
Yeah.
And I became an entrepreneur so I could control my schedule,
Yeah.
right? And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to wake up when I'm tired of sleeping,
Right. Right.
And it's one of those things where if I know I'm going to meet new members of my team for the morning,
Then it fires you up.
fires me
You're
up. I'm ready to meet
Yeah.
the team no matter what time zone that they're in.
Yeah, like if you're having a hard time getting up in the morning, then maybe just like find something that you're excited about getting up for.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
It's not that hard.
And I've recruited members of my team
Yeah.
specifically that aren't morning people. And I say, do you love what you do?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I'm working for the man. I go,
Yeah.
because I love what I do.
Yeah.
When are you going to join me?
Yeah.
And then,
That's cool.
And then they come on board and we shake it up and have a great time. And
That's cool.
And that's why we've been able to win a lot of the different, Fast 50 awards and
Yeah.
West Capital Network 100s, the Inc. 5000. They had me speak over there in Arizona, and that was a great event. But it was really cool. I mean, we grew 1,900% our first 3 years. We're up over 3,500% now, and we're in our fourth year right now.
Yeah,
So,
charging hard. That's so sick.
yeah.
Last question is just the faith component. So it's been mentioned a couple of times. I know you served a mission. I know that just the fact that like early on it felt like you were saving for a mission. Like where did that spark? When did the spark happen? And how do you think about that now in your life? Like, where does it fit into everything else?
The spark, it's interesting. I remember there was an activity when I was a kid in primary where we all went on missions. And I remember being in a fake airplane it looked like the fuselage in the Stake Center, and we all had seatbelts, and the voice came on. Someone up at the pulpit with the wall, with the flexible wall closed, talking like they were the captain, and we all got off the plane, went through the other side of the overflow, and we were all ushered to different rooms, and I went to England.
Okay,
I loved it.
Yeah.
The people talking about England were returned missionaries from England.
Cool. Yeah.
They had the flag, and they talked about all the different things. They had food there, and I just fell in love. I'm like, I'm going on a mission. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And it was, at the time, I remember it was $325 a month is what I had to save for, which was $8,400. And then the church raised it to $350. And I'm like, dang it, it's an extra $600. I got to save $9,000 now, right?
Yeah.
And so that was my goal, was I've got to save this amount of money, and this is what it's going to take, and this is how much I need to save per year to make it happen. And so that was like the goal.
That's cool.
Super fun.
And what was how has that served you in your life? Just like the faith component.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I look at friends and other family members that decided that they wanted to live their life the way they thought it would represent freedom to make better choices, for example. They didn't want to sit into a box, they thought, right? And I've seen their lives completely destroyed.
Yeah.
I've seen just the absolute, the absence of following the path basically has just been detrimental to their lives. And they want to say that everything's fine and dandy, but you can see it and you're like, well, sorry, you're not happy.
Yeah.
And your life's in turmoil because you've been going it alone as opposed, to following the right path, basically.
Yeah.
And, and everybody's got their own time and season to do certain things. But I always tell people, don't beat yourself up too much. God isn't finished with you yet. There's certain things that you still have to perhaps learn that some of us might have learned earlier on. And there's still lessons that we're going to learn, right? There's going to be some really devastating, difficult things, but nobody gets out of mortality easily.
Yeah. No doubt.
We all have to die to get out of mortality.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to go through hard things.
Yeah.
And so just knowing that, and people preparing themselves for having to do hard things, that everything is basically equal. If you look behind the curtain, I think that's what people have to look at, is that, hey, you know what? It's going to be bad, or it is bad right now, but it's going to be way better.
Yeah.
And time and season for everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. Well, dude, I've learned a ton. This is, you're an amazing person that's been through a lot. And I think that I loved your thought of just like it can start with you. It can end with if it was your dad that kind of had a hard time and made some poor decisions, that doesn't mean that needs to extend to you. Like, it can start with you. And I think that the legacy you're building and not just your family, but just like people you're working with that you're impacting, I think it's awesome. And I think people listening to this will be inspired by just this idea that like one person can make a really big impact, and it can start with you.
I love that.
And
I mean, you're the author and illustrator of your own book.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to write it for you.
That's right.
Or illustrate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Which is a massive blessing. Like, we can be the captain of our own thing, man. So, thanks for coming on. This has been super fun. And, I appreciate the nuggets, and I hope we can become buds, man. I've got a lot I could learn from you. So
let's do it, brother.
Appreciate you coming on. I think people will get a lot from this. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. So.